Hello, welcome to the Sideboard here at the StarCityGames.com Open Series in Dallas. I'm Nick Miller alongside David Houghton. How you doing, sir?
Doing good. How are you?
Pretty good. Now, see, we're excited here. I was hinted off the fact that someone was playing Allies, and with Battle for Zendikar coming out, we have a new swath of Allies to bring to this deck. And of course, we start off the Ally encampment, the land, in conjunction with Cavern of Souls, lets you do all your cool things. Now, the judge came up to me and said, hey, you got to see this Ally deck. This guy's been playing locally. He knows what he's doing. He's been tuning it. So how long have you been playing the deck, and how great has the Battle for Zendikar additions been for you?
So the additions are great. They're not as powerful as the initial Allies generally, but what they are is they fill out the deck, which is what the deck needed. The most powerful Allies are still from the original set, but nonetheless, I needed supplemental material.
All right. Of course, the thing we get right off the bat, the Expedition Envoy, 2-1 for 1 mana. You need something to start your curve along with Aether Vial. Just seems about the best rate you can get in the business.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's solid. This is mostly just so I can curve out. I have something to vial in on turn 1 if I don't have my other one drop, the Houghton Free Blade.
Sure.
And yeah, it just helps me beat real quick. So it also gets the bonus from one of my other guys, the Battle Singer.
So then you get the Cohen Battle Singer, helps you give that guy, makes him a 3-1, of course. Then we have the Allies we kind of know and have seen. We've got all the ones that grow. So we've got the Oran Reef Survivalist. We know that guy. Of course, we've got the Blade Master.
He's been great.
He's like the marquee 2-drop, I would assume.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, we got the new Battle for Zendikar, the Blade Whirler. Blade Whirl. I assume he whirls the blades.
Yeah, all the
blades. He's a Blade Whirler.
Mm-hmm.
First strike. In conjunction with all this, you're just a very powerful beatdown deck.
Yeah, and the deck's very fast. I've won most of my games on turn 4. And I mean, there's 2 lines that can win on turn 3. Both of them involve the Cohen Battle Singer.
Allows you to just do all kinds of cool things. You've got some other ones. We've got a Lantern Scout or 2 running around in there, Lifelink, so he's nice, along with the Fire Mantle Mage, which you said is basically your 5th Kabira Evangel. Now this card's insane.
Kabira Evangel is
insane.
Arguably the best card in the deck, up there with a Cohen Battle Singer. So why not run a 5th one if possible? So the Fire Mantle Mage kind of plays that role. And against Affinity, it's actually superior.
Right. Instead of just being a pro color, you actually just get to make your guys harder to block, able to beat down a little bit more. Now the interesting thing about this deck, you don't have any removal, so you're not playing around. You're just playing creatures. You've got Collected Company here as well. You're just trying to run people over.
Yeah, I don't want to clog the deck up with removal because the Allies get exponentially more powerful the more Allies I have.
All right. So what are the best interactions in this deck that people who might not be familiar with the way the deck plays, what are some of the tricks of the trade here?
So, as I said a couple times, the Battle Singer surprises people. They never do proper math with that card. It gives the whole team +1/+0. Off a Collected Company, it gives the whole team +2/+0. And if I flip 2 Battle Singers off a Collected Company, the whole team gets +4/+0.
That is a lot of power. So that's just with the Battle Singer. Of course, you've got some other creatures here. You can give your creatures first strike. What's the other outside of just the dream scenario where you're just getting to give your creatures +4? What are you looking for in Collected Company?
Collected Company is all value. Anytime a Collected Company resolves, my creatures that get +1/+ counters get +2/+2 permanently, and it's just, like I said before, exponential value.
If you are in the room, please come to the main event stage.
On top of this, you play sort of like, we saw the breakout deck at Cincinnati, the Slivers deck. So it kind of showed that, hey, these Vile Creature Tribe strategies are good. You have it here, of course. You get to play kind of, in and out of the control decks. You have Vile and Collected Company. Another interesting part here is the return to ranks. You have more in the sideboard, but this card we saw early on, people thought, as the Aristocrat strategies, stuff like that, Sam Black was brewing with it. How's it been for you?
The card is phenomenal. In the matchups that I bring in, I also have 2 return to the ranks in the sideboard, and the matchups those come in, the card has returned as many as 4 allies, but that's not just 4 creatures, that's also 4 sets of triggers. I've given my guys +8/+0 until end of turn and protection with my Cohen Battle Singer and my Kabira Evangel already in play.
Right, that's the interesting part about this deck is we've seen, the Slivers deck kind of branches out into some other cards, some removal and stuff like that. And the tribal strategies usually need some support. This deck is actually all allies. You have no, dead weight in this deck.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I feel that sets this apart, it's not necessarily exactly better, but it's often better, is that I can't get the blowouts that Lord of Atlantis, that Fish gets when someone attacks and you lightning bolt their Lord of Atlantis, and all of a sudden you can block and have favorable trades. This deck doesn't have that because when something dies, the creature has already provided its value.
Right, so you don't have the on-board stuff. They just kind of always have their impact, and then they can't do any other tricks. Now the Ally Encampment, I brought this up at the beginning. How powerful has this card been, and like, are you doing a lot of tricks mid-combat with this or anything like that? Because you've got Vial to work with it as well.
The Encampment's great. It smooths my mana out with the Cavern of Souls. I never have color issues in the deck, ever. What the Encampment does is I can do things like provide first strike damage with the Kazandu Blade Master, or if I have a Blade Whirl, and then save a creature. What else I've done is that with the Akun Battle Singer, I can cast it if I have enough mana or an Aether Vial. I can cast the Battle Singer, bounce it to my hand, and vial it back in to give my team +2/+0, which is often enough to win a game.
Yeah, that's very powerful. All right, so we'll move on to the sideboard here. You've got this one, this caught my eye here, the Ondu Cleric. You've got the allies, they keep coming. There's another, there's a Fire Mantle Mage here on the board as well, just when you need it to beat the other creature decks and the burn decks.
Yeah, absolutely. The Ondu Cleric won me a game against Burn round 1. It gains a life for each ally in play anytime an ally enters, including itself. So often it's going to come into play, gain 3 life, maybe gain more, but then they still have to waste removal on it so it doesn't get out of hand.
All right, we got a little changeling over here, Chameleon Colossus, another ally, of course. You just need this against stuff like Jund, I bet.
Jund and Abzan, yeah.
Okay, you got a bunch of artifact hate here, Stony Silence. You got Kataki, Path to Exiles here on the board for stuff like Twin and creature decks.
Absolutely, okay. Or a random Worm Coil that I don't want to get caught behind.
Right. So the interesting thing here is with these beatdown decks, they only have really one plan. You're just looking to try to dodge all these unfair decks, or do you have any tricks that we're not seeing here that allows you to get past some of these unfair decks?
The unfair decks, I race them. A lot of the time, unless Splinter Twin not only has the turn 4 win, but they go for the turn 4 win. And that's often not the case because they're scared of any hate cards that you bring in game 2. So they generally won't go for it. So in that case, my average Goldfish is probably turn 4. All right. Turn 5 at the latest, but that's often late and fast enough to get there.
Yeah, against, combo decks, they have to be able to beat you very quickly because this deck is not messing around.
And then even against Scapeshift, it's kind of amusing. With the Ondu Cleric and the Lantern Scouts, I can sometimes gain enough life to get out of reach so that their Scapeshift doesn't kill me.
Right, that's pretty sweet. All right, so you've played the deck, you're 3-0 so far, you've played it a bunch locally. Has there been anything that's impressed you the most, or any changes, or anything you want to try out going forward?
I'm really excited for whatever the next zendikar set brings. If I get another ally that's playable as a 4-of at the same power level as the initial allies, I think that the deck will be tier 1, no question. Right now, I think it's powerful enough to take down a tournament, but if I get any more very good allies, the deck's real.
All right, be on the lookout for Oath of the Gatewatch, because if there's a good ally, you could be looking at a new frontrunner in the modern format. All right, well, I appreciate you joining me here in the sideboard. Stay tuned to StarCityGames.com all weekend long for the action here in Dallas.